The last section of this week's lecture talks about metabolism and nutrition. Metabolism. The definition of metabolism is it's the sum of all of the chemical reactions in a cell. It consists of catabolism and anabolism. Catabolism is the process of breaking down substances into its building blocks. Anabolism is the process of building macromolecules. So by the breakdown and building of substances, we keep energy cycling. Catabolism happens in our digestive tract. We bring in food and break it down into its building blocks using enzymes. Anabolism happens predominantly in the liver. So those nutrients that we've broken down in our digestive tract, we've absorbed them into the bloodstream, transported them into the liver, and the liver takes those nutrients and uses them to build our own proteins and our own lipids and our own carbohydrates through the process of anabolism. The two processes go hand in hand. A varied diet is essential to health. Macronutrients are nutrients that are required in the diet in large quantities. Macronutrients include carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins. Micronutrients are nutrients that are needed in the diet in small quantities. Micronutrients include vitamins and minerals. Minerals are elements from the periodic table. So if you remember me talking about the periodic table of elements way back in the chemistry chapter toward the beginning of the semester, minerals include calcium, chlorine, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, sulfur. All of these play a major role in human health. Vitamins are organic compounds. So we have carbon inside of all of our vitamins. There are water-soluble vitamins and there's fat-soluble vitamins. Water-soluble vitamins, when taken in excess, are usually just urinated out. There's not a lot of toxicity associated with water-soluble vitamins. This is a list of some of our common water-soluble vitamins. Fat-soluble vitamins are listed here. So vitamin A, vitamin D, E, and K. Overeating and undereating disrupt nutrient homeostasis. Calories are measures of food's energy content. To maintain a constant body weight, an animal must eat as many calories as it expends. Deprived of nutrients, the starving body digests its stored reserves of carbohydrates, fats, and then proteins in that order. So if a person is anorexic and they're not eating, their body is going to first consume all of their carbohydrates, and then start consuming their fats, and then start consuming their proteins. And it's going to target any protein. This includes the protein that make up your heart wall muscle, the proteins that make up the muscles, your intercostals that aid in breathing, your diaphragm. So it's not really picky. It'll start to digest any tissue. So patients that are anorexic sometimes have heart failure. Their hearts become really weak because they're literally digesting their own hearts in order to get nutrients from those proteins. Obesity occurs if calorie intake consistently exceeds calories spent. I'm going to talk a little bit about how stress plays a role in obesity. When you're stressed, your body produces cortisol. The short-term effects of cortisol are to mobilize fats so that you can have excess energy to deal with the stressful situations. Unfortunately, the brain doesn't use anything besides glucose for energy production. So breaking down those fats isn't going to do much to help your brain get the energy that it needs. So under stressful situations, that usually triggers your body to feel like you're hungry. Your brain's going to think that you're hungry, and it's going to cause you to eat a little bit more when you're stressed. If you don't eat more, your body's still not going to be able to use those fats for energy production. So your body weight will kind of stay steady. But prolonged amounts of cortisol or hypercortisolism is going to lead to an increase in absorption of fats from the diet. Your body's going to think that you need to store energy because you're trying to maintain this really stressful lifestyle that you've put out in front of you. Now, because your brain isn't using the fats and you're physically not moving, it's just your brain is stressful or creating this stressful environment, you're not burning these fats. So they just continue to be stored in the body. So the more you stress, the more your body thinks that you need stored nutrients, the more fats are going to be absorbed from your digestive tract, and the more they're going to be stored. And it's kind of like an endless feedback or a positive feedback cycle that's just going to build and build and build. Eventually, you're going to have an increase in tissue damage. You're going to have increase in inflammation, prolonged infections. Your immune system is going to tank. You're going to start getting stretch marks in your skin. Your skin's going to look really weak. Your hair is going to become brittle. And all of those things are all because your body is trying to get the energy it needs to your brain to maintain that stressful state of mind. But because your brain is picky for glucose, it's not going to do anything with the fats, so the fats just stay in the body. Poor eating and exercise habits lead to obesity, but genes also influence appetite, digestion, and metabolic rate. Deficiencies of some hormones, such as leptin, may also contribute to the tendency to become overweight. Leptin inhibits hunger, and it's made by adipocytes. So the more or the bigger your adipocytes are, the more leptin is produced, and the less you're going to want to eat. Because if you already have a lot of fat stored in your fat cells, why would you want to keep eating? But sometimes leptin deficiencies can lead to obesity. Like here you can see a leptin deficient mouse. How do we determine what is a healthy weight? We look at our body mass index and we compare our height to weight ratio. Age plays a role in there as well. So health professionals consider body mass index, BMI, a useful measure. Although now they're starting to move away from that model in some of my health sciences courses when I went back for my graduate studies, indicated that they're no longer going to be considering these numbers, that they're no longer going to tie a number to a patient and kind of shame them into losing weight or gaining weight. That they're saying that you can be healthy at numerous weights. It's all about how your attitude is and how fit you are and how much physical activity you're doing and how much you're eating. And as long as you're eating a balanced diet and getting good exercise, you're not going to be tied to this number anymore. So it's one of the new trends in healthcare. So BMI is calculated using a person's height and weight. A BMI of between 19 and 25 is considered healthy.